Hello, VIALIGHT team. So this is a video guide that I'm putting together about how to do this. Basically, how to adjust your assets so that they fit appropriately into the Unity grid, and then how to place them in the Unity grid in a way that will make sense based on how you drew them in Photoshop. You can see that the grid matches up pretty much perfectly, or almost perfectly, with all of the hitboxes that are going to exist, and all of the interactable stuff. So that Ed will have a really easy time placing our hitboxes, and actually making the environment interactable with the character. Now, this is not perfect. I expect it will still need some adjustment, but the basic theory on like what size, what ratio of pixels, and how you're actually going to import all of your assets into Unity, that is all final now. So this is final shit. This is exactly how we're gonna do it. So I'm going to start in Photoshop, and I'm going to use How's work on the first platform. You can see that I already imported mine and Nikita's as a kind of extended test, and it's all worked pretty well. So now I'm going to use How's work on the first platform to just kind of get this video guide out. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I am going to grab all of these, and I'm going to import them into this template that I've got. This is the tileset test template new. It is a standard isometric grid that we've been working on by rotating and then just drawing with shift. So it will match up pretty much perfectly with all of How's work on the first platform. So I'm going to just grab these and I'm going to drag them in here. And then I can look at them on the grid. And they're not going to match up quite perfectly because we were drawing at a slightly different size that wasn't quite right. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start doing some transforms to try and get them roughly where they should be. Like, this is working pretty well. But it's not perfect. You can see, like, this stuff is very much lined up, but this stuff's not quite lined up over here. So I'm going to have to do some adjustment. But as I'm cutting this out and as I'm adjusting this, I am always going to be looking back at where I'm placing these and making sure that where I'm placing them is really going to make sense. So like checking with how many tiles this is going to take up, checking to make sure that it makes sense what goes where, and also checking to like maybe redraw some things so that when stuff overlaps in the proper way and there's no holes in our environment. Excuse me. So let me just go right here. And the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out this floor area right here. So I'm on my tablet now, and I'm just going to isolate this area. I can be super sloppy, it doesn't matter. Oh, whoops, that's here. Let me. Oh yeah, you merged everything, or you kept all your assets on different layers. That's an interesting way to do it, but for now, and you can probably figure out a better way that involves more layers, but for now I'm going to merge all these together. And I'm going to copy that. I'm going to bring it over here. So the main working area on this document is going to be the bottom left corner. In fact, the bottom left corner is going to be pretty much crucial for basically everything we want to do. So I can look at this, and then I can just briefly check back with Unity, and I can look at exactly what I want it to look like. So I want it to extend 2 more units in this direction because it's going to be behind that. And I am going to get rid of that kind of wall shape because if I recall correctly, Jessica's drawing works a little bit differently with that, but maybe I will check and see just in case. I'm going to check on my, don't mind that, I was looking up some photo ref. I'm going to check on my drive and just look at the other stuff that we've been doing. So there's going to be a lot of checking back with things, making sure that everything looks right, making sure that everything makes sense. Yeah, so Jessica's wall didn't quite fit in that same way. I'm also going to need to do some adjustment on Jessica's wall, but that will come later. Yeah, there's just a lot of checking back with the stuff that we've already done, checking back with the stuff to make sure it makes sense, and to make sure that like everything kind of works. So now I can actually start drawing. So I'm just gonna get rid of all of this. Actually, I'm gonna grab these and move them over here. And I'm going to just extend these out just like that so that they will match appropriately. Now all of this drawing that I'm doing is going to be behind that behind this vent, but it doesn't matter because the important part is that that area exists so that we can assign it appropriate hitboxes so it can still walk on it. And now I'm going to kind of cut away this part right here. I'm gonna grab these barrels and I'm going to just place them right about there, right where they were before. And I'm just gonna complete them a little bit more. Just to make sure that they overlap or that they circle underneath the vent properly. And then there's the matter of this stuff. First of all, I can just get rid of that right there. And then there's the matter of this stuff. I'm gonna alter this just a little bit. This would actually have been a lot easier if I'd kept Howe's dividers. So maybe when you do that in the future, you should keep those. Oof. Woof. Oh, ellipses. Oh, they're so much fun. I'm also not using my Cintiq right now, so it's a lot harder to use to draw ellipses on a normal ass tablet. Excuses. Oh, I was an Inga TA for 2 semesters and I can't draw fucking ellipse. Great. So we're just gonna make this a little barrel. And none of this, again, none of this drawing is really going to be final. Some of the drawing is going to show up in the environment because the environment is going to have, some of this drawing is going to show up in the environment because the environment is going to have outlines and it's going to be cell shaded. But a lot of your drawing will be less noticeable behind the painting. And in general, we'll be able to redraw a lot of this stuff while we're painting. Most of us will be assigned our original stuff for Most of us will be assigned our original stuff for the painting side of things, unless one of you feels really uncomfortable with having to paint, in which case we can maybe assign it to someone else. Now that Stephanie's on our team, we've got a really excellent painter who can definitely carry that weight if you really feel uncomfortable with painting. But I know that all of you are going to do perfectly fine. So I will encourage you guys to at least try it out. I don't think I will need to, though. I think everyone's going to be pretty excited about being able to paint the environment. But that's another... that's another thing that I'm going to have to take care of eventually, is working out exactly how the environment shading is going to work. Okay, so I've got this platform pretty much done. I'm keeping this just so that this can mesh with this part of it, the part that's the actual pipe that comes up here. But this is going to be like one platform. So what we do now, and it's perfectly lined up with the grid. So what we do now is we grab the whole thing, and we bring it to the closest to the bottom left corner. I might actually want to, yeah, I'm going to expand that, like, because really, fitting the grid as perfectly as we possibly can is gonna be, it's gonna make everything easier for everyone. I'm gonna expand that a little bit, and then I'm gonna grab that, and I'm just gonna move it in. Just like that. Perfect. So, closest to the bottom left corner you can. For stuff that's too like this, you can't get right in there. So, prioritize bottom over left. So, I'm putting this corner there instead of putting this corner there. So, now we've got that. And now it's time to actually figure out what the dimensions of the document that we're going to export is actually going to be. You need to start on one of these corners and just grab it. And then what I've been doing so far is I'm going to say image crop. And then I'm going to check the image size. And it's 1793 by 1112. Now here is the first crucial point, is all of our documents need to be, a multiple of the number 256. We're using a 256p grid, and all documents need to be that multiple, so that you can accurately place them in the grid and they're going to fit perfectly. So I'm just going to grab this number, and I'm going to paste it into my calculator, and I'm going to divide it by 256, and it's going to wind up with a number that's pretty close. Yeah, I got 7. So now 256 times 7 is 1792. So, oh man, I got within 1 pixel. That's really cool. Now I'm going to grab this one, do the same thing. So the last number was 1792, 256, 100. So this is 4.3. It's a little weird, but I'm going to go with 4. So, and then 256 times 4 is 1024. So 1792 by 1024. This is when I hit Control Z. Now this is important. You've got to do this in this exact order every time. First, I'm going to save the file. Then I'm going to go Image, Canvas Size, crop it from the bottom left. You click right here. And then Pixels, 1792 by 1024. Both of these are exact multiples of 256. Crop it. There we go. Perfect. I forgot to do the most important thing. Okay, never mind. Never mind what I just said. Don't do this in this exact order yet, because I forgot to do the really important thing. the really important thing that you've got to do first is, so I saved it. I said file. Yeah, I saved it. Now, I'm working on this unadjusted grid. When I rotate 2 ticks, it creates exact parallel lines with the grid when I hold shift. So, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to say image size, and I'm going to change this height number, 7391. Everyone's document should be 7391. I'm going to change it to 6400. Hit OK. And it's going to squish everything down just a little bit, but everything's still going to look pretty good because we're working in isometric grid, so it doesn't matter if you squish things. Now, this is the document that I'm going to use, but I want to still be able to use this and draw over this part of the document without actually being able and still maintain it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this, and then I'm going to hit Control-Z, and I'm going to go back to the previous unadjusted one, and then I'm going to grab my copied one and put it into the new tileset adjusted template, which I'm also going to put in the drive. And I'm going to paste this right here, and then I'm going to line it up with the edge. Then I'm going to crop things. Now, what this does is this transforms our Photoshop grid into the Unity grid. It shortens the perspective ever so slightly, and it makes it fit exactly within the Unity grid. And the reason for this is Unity deals really well with tile sets when this vertical span of the tile, from this corner to this corner, is exactly half of the horizontal span of the tile from this corner to this corner. That's what these numbers on the grid mean. This cell size 1 by 0.5 by 1. This is crucial. We absolutely need to do this every time. I'm sorry, it's a little bit of a pain in the ass, but it's the only way. Or there might be a better way, but I don't know it. There's a possibility that you could like adjust your Photoshop ticks so that it rotates to exactly this grid instead of the other grid, but I don't have time to figure that out, and it probably involves some actual like going into the adjustment files in Photoshop. So I'm gonna go back here. Now I've got my new adjusted file. This file is still unadjusted because I still want to work on the rest of it more. I've got my new unadjusted file, and I'm going to do the same thing that I was doing before. Now this is the time where you've got to like make sure you do everything correctly. Make sure your layers are in order. Probably make a new group to put your specific layers in, because I'm also going to want your finished Photoshop a new adjusted file after you're done here. You hit save, and then you start your work on your adjustment. So I'm going to go to this corner. I'm going to say crop, and then I'm going to look at the image size. 1788, that's going to be the same as that 1792 by 959. So you go to your browser, you hit 959 divided by 256, and I get 3.7. So I'm just going to round that up to 4. Because sometimes you're going to get weird numbers because you're not working quite within the grid that it wants you to work in. So you just round it up. It doesn't matter if your document is exactly touching all the corners. It's never going to do that, or it's very rarely going to do that. So 256 times 4 is 1024 again. So we're working with the same size that we did before. So I'm going to go back, and then this is where the important thing comes in. First, save your file. Then go to canvas size, work from the bottom left, go 1792 by 1024. Crop it. There. So it's lining up perfectly with the grid on all corners. And our kind of major object is all lined up with the grid. Then what you do, you say save as, you save it as a PNG. Oh, no, sorry. You don't do that yet. First, you got to crop the white space. So I'm going to get rid of the grid, and then I'm going to select the background layer, and I'm going to just select everything. And make sure that you have all of the white space that's supposed to be selected actually selected. This document is pretty easy, requires minimal cleanup because it's just a square. Some of your documents are going to require a little bit more cleanup. This is just, it's required for making sure that we can actually see what we're doing when we're placing the basic stuff in Unity, and also making sure that stuff that's behind other things don't show through it because there is white space. So I select all that, and then I go to Modify, Expand Selection, and I expand it by 1 just to get rid of that little white halo that might show up around some of the lines. So then, save as, you save it as a PNG, and you give it a name. I'm gonna say East Platform Bottom. I've been giving them pretty descriptive basic names. We should probably come up with a system, but I spent all night figuring this out, and I can't be bothered right now. So save it as a PNG, and then you gotta delete it first. So I'm gonna save it again as a PNG. Make sure that you delete your white space, save it as a PNG, give it the same name. Oh wait, no, not that one. Give it the same name. Replace that one. Replace the fucked up one. Then I'm also going to save it as a Photoshop document with the same name, and you can just grab that and then change it back to a Photoshop document, give it the same name. You can see that I've got all my Photoshop documents for all the different stuff. The reason I'm saving as a Photoshop document is because I also want to be able to just pull up this document when we're ready to color and just start coloring on a document that's already got all the right sizes. So we don't have to do this pain in the ass resizing thing for everything again when we color it. So make sure to save your Photoshop documents for all of your assets. Otherwise, it's going to be up to you to resize all of them again, which you don't want to do. So we're going to save that. Then when you're done, you're going to grab your PNG, you're going to grab your Photoshop document that you did for this thing. You're going to upload it to the drive, and then you're also going to put it in Unity, which I will cover shortly. But that's the end of our Photoshop journey. When you're done, you can just close that, and you can open back up the template new adjusted, and that's that again, because you made sure to save it before you did all that stuff. So it's right back where you are, and then you can go right ahead with some of your next stuff. You can go right ahead with some of your next stuff in the unadjusted template. Not that one, that one. And you can start cutting out the next pieces. But for right now, I'm going to show you how to put it in Unity. So this is the Unity document I've been working on right now. The main things that are important are your tile map. I've got 3 tile maps right now for background, foreground, and midground. And I've got the tile palette where I actually place all of the assets. The assets are different than the images. And you get them all here. That's why there are a bunch of duplicates, because also I had to readjust some stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the document that I just saved. That's not in downloads, it's in documents. That was called East Platform Bottom. Grab East Platform Bottom, drag it into here. Boom, there we go. Find it. There's a lot of these in here. It's right at the top. Of course it is, because it starts with E. And there are 2 main adjustments that you have to do. And this is, I don't know if the artists are going to be doing this. I might be the one doing all of this, but I'm recording it for your guys' sake, just in case. 2 main adjustments you have to do. First of all, remember, every unit was 256. So we go up here, we click on it, we go up here, we change pixels per unit to 256. And then also, we don't want anything to be blurry. So we change the max size to 8192. And you hit apply. That's it. That's all you need to do there. Next thing you need to do is you need to grab it and you need to drag it into your tile palette. It's going to ask you to save it as an asset. You save it as an asset. Then it shows you this right here. You kind of select it. It's going to default give you the selection right in the center. Then you can, or it should. Oh, I need to actually select a tile map. Then you can place it in, and you can see how it doesn't quite line up. Okay, gotta troubleshoot that. You know, nothing works perfectly. Great. Oh, no. It's because I didn't do anything. It's because I didn't do the main important thing yet. So what I need to do then is I need to grab the asset. Remember, the asset is going to be different than the image. In the yeah, you grab the asset in the thing. I just did something. I don't know what I just did. Whatever. You grab the asset in the thing and you go to the sprite editor. It opens the sprite editor and you change the pivot. Change the pivot from center to bottom left. Remember, we're working from the bottom left for almost everything right now, and it's going to change that right there. Then you hit apply for that. Close that down. And then you can see it perfectly lines up with the grid. And so this is in the background because it's the back, and I definitely want it to show up behind everything. So I'm gonna make sure to place it in the background tile, and I'm going to just place it. Whoops. I'm just gonna place it right where it should go. And it doesn't line up. That's because I made a mistake while I was drawing it and I didn't count the tiles properly. So it's kind of an iterative process. So sucks, but I gotta go do it again now because it didn't quite line up. See, the barrels don't cut off where they're supposed to. So for that, I can go back to, and this is another reason why you should always share the Photoshop version of the document that you were working in. So I grab my documents. I go to eastplatformbottom.psd, open it back up, and it just opens it right back up. So I need to make it 1 unit longer. So I gotta look at the grid again. And that means I'm gonna go image, canvas size, and I'm gonna change the grid from the left because I need to make the grid longer, but it doesn't look like I actually need to make it any taller. And I'm just going to count up what's the next 256 unit above 1792. So 1792 plus 256. I can't do that math in my head, even though you can. It's 2048. So I'm going to change that to 2048. It's actually good that that didn't work out because that means I get to show you how to improvise this on the fly. So you do that. Fucking white space is right there. You gotta delete that. Delete that. Make sure I didn't cut off any of the corner. I might have, but it's not going to be noticeable. And then I'm just gonna grab. Oh, you gotta merge these. So I'm gonna duplicate both of them, turn these invisible, merge these layers. Whoops, I accidentally merged the grid together. You know, it's an ongoing process. It's fine. It doesn't matter. Yeah, grab these, duplicate, merge. There. You can look at the grid again, and then I'm going to grab this. And I'm going to move it so that it just lines up to the grid really perfectly. Right there. This was duplicated, so I'm already seeing the back. So then I can get rid of the grid. And now I'm just going to paint over this really fast. So that's how you just do the grid one longer, just in case you fucked up because you're a dumb fuck. So remember, I expanded this to 2048, so this is still an exact multiple of 256. So now I can save it, and then I can just save it as a new version of the PNG. And just overwrite right over the PNG because it's wrong. Excuse me. And then you grab your new PNG and you place it into Unity just like I did before. So I'm going to search for my documents. I'm going to grab the new one. And I'm going to just drag drop right into here. It's going to make another one. You can see that's why there are so many different versions of some of these, is because I had to do it multiple times, because I would fuck up one thing and then I'd fuck up another thing and then I wouldn't be able to address it quite right or quite the same. So I can look for the new one that I brought in. This is the new one, because I can see it hasn't been adjusted yet. So once again, 256, 1892 or 8192. You apply that, and then you drag it into your tile set thingy, tile palette. You save that. It's going to save it as a new asset, and then you can grab that and you can place it. I'm going to grab it, and I'm going to see it does line up with the grid now. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, but the important thing is that usually you can fix it by grabbing the your new platform, going to use sprite editor, and adjusting it to the bottom left. Bottom left just means that it's going to be easier to grab when Ed or I are placing these in Unity. And so now I've got the one for the proper size. I can just put it right here, and it's going to line up basically perfectly with the rest of the stuff. Yeah. And then we can start assigning this some hitboxes. They're going to be perfectly accurate. We can start doing some other shit, like I can actually make this next platform, which I'll probably do just to go over it one more time to make sure that this is like totally drilled in. I totally got everything down, like it's absolutely final. This is the way that we do things. Oh yeah, and after you change the pivot, your tile's gonna change position. So, because this was always, like, I think it's this one. No, is it this one? No, is it this one? Yeah. This was always the center, or this was always the main tile pivot, but it just moved the tile along with it instead of moving the pivot. You can see I've got all these different assets here. I was messing around a bunch. I was playing around a bunch with different stuff. And this is the system that worked. I usually keep the tile palette over here on my second screen. So, let's do it one more time. I need some water. You go back to your tile set template, and you grab the next thing you're going to do. Oh, this is a good example of a thing that you're going to need to do. So, I'm going to grab my pen again, and I'm going to start selecting this wall. Again, no need to be accurate. You're going to clean this stuff up later. And I'm just going to go over here. I'm actually going to not select this part right here, because this is actually going to be a part of the roof, and then I'm going to do it this segment again. I mean, this is actually going to be a part of the wall, and then I'm going to do this segment again to be able to walk behind it when you're doing that. Like, you're going to need to grab this roof, get rid of all this stuff, which how thankfully I already did. I just fucked it up by merging it all together to make my life easier, and then transfer it in, and then transfer all of these as separate objects, so you can actually walk around them in the game and walk behind them in the game. But for now, we're just focusing on the wall. Copy that. Oh, whoops. Yeah. Copy that. And drag it over here. Don't need that. Drag this over here. So we can make sure that that is how it should be. That lines up right there. That lines up right there. So we know generally how we're going to want it to line up. Just going to want to actually do it. So first things first, I'm going to redraw this line. Whoops, I'm on white right now. Now, we get to this part. So, I don't actually want this line here because remember, stuff goes behind other stuff on the in the tile set on Unity. So what I actually want is just a rough mock-up of what this wall is actually going to look like. So, I'm just going to draw the whole ass wall with none of the... Whoop. Oh, that's not quite accurate. Whoopsie. I'm just going to draw the whole ass wall with none of the detail on the stuff that's not going to be shown, but it's still going to be there. Here, I can like come down a little bit on some of these just to make sure they totally disappear behind whatever is happening. And then I can take a look over here. Check out what's going on. This stuff, I'm gonna want to copy that. Whoops. Let's paste it and then bring it over here. I want to copy that, bring it over here just so that I can make sure to that everything is gonna line up accurately. Although I don't need to worry too much about this. I just want it to go a little bit above so that stuff lines up appropriately. Same with the bottom. I know that it just comes down straight right here. So I'm just going to do that. And then, here, I can merge that down. And then merge that down. Just going to come down there like that. And then I can take a look at what this wall actually is, and that's pretty much it. That's the entire wall. So, what can I do now? Well, same deal. First, I'm going to copy this. Paste it. Oh, first, I'm going to adjust the image. So, image size 6400. Boom. Now it's the proper ratio. Copy that, then you do Control Z, and you go back to the original, and then you save. You make sure to save. Go back here. The proper size to match this grid. So I'm gonna paste it. It's not actually the proper size to match this grid because for whatever reason it didn't actually copy when I was in here. So gotta do it again. Photoshop is a bitch sometimes, but it's fine. Yeah, image size 6400. Okay. Absolutely have it. We'll absolutely copy it. Copy, copy, copy. I'm gonna paste it in before I change it back. There we go. Now it's the proper size. So then change it back. And save. Just make sure you don't save this in the wrong size, otherwise you're going to have to start over with your cutouts. go back to this one. Can maneuver this into its precise position. It's absolutely going to line up with everything. And then you start your work with cropping it, which it looks like that this is going to hit a lot of corners, unless this is halves instead of wholes, which sometimes happens. There we go. Crop that. Take a look at the image size. 1412 by 1285. I believe that 1284 is an actual one. So I'm going to check by dividing 1284 by 256. And almost 256 times 5 is 1280. So almost. So this is height is going to be 1280. Width 1412. 1412 divided by 256 is 5.5. So I'm going to have to round that up to 6. So 256 times 6 is 1536. So 1536 for the width, 1280 for the height. So I hit cancel, go back to normal. File, save, remember to save, and then you say image canvas size, work from the bottom left. This number is going to be 1280, and this number is going to be 1536. I might have gotten that backwards, but let's see. I did not. Perfect. It actually cut off. Oh, I did get it backwards. Yeah, that's fine. It's already saved. Canvas size. Work from the bottom left. 1536 by 1280, which you can just do that. That's kind of cool. And you say, okay. I did it again. Oh my god. 1536 is the width. 1280 is the height. Actually, maybe I did something else wrong. Let's see. So what we can do is we can actually crop it again. So I'm going to want to try from this one now and say image, not trim. And then image size. So the width is 1536. The height is 1280. I just got it backwards both times. What can you do? Save. Image. Canvas size. Yeah, it's because these are swapped. 1536. 1280. Okay, proceed. There we go. There we go. So this is kind of a pain, honestly, but what are you gonna do? So I'm going to get rid of that, and then I'm going to do the white space crop just like always. You use the magic wand tool. You use the lasso tool. Just make sure that all of the white space is where it needs to be for the image that you're working with. It looks pretty good. Expand the selection just to get rid of that little white halo. Delete it. And then you say save as. I always save it as a PNG first. I don't really know why, but I'm going to call this east wall covered, because it's mostly covered. Again, names are pretty arbitrary. I'll work out a naming solution. Naming solution later. ASMR. Save that. And then you also make sure to save it as a Photoshop document. And because you saved your big document before, you can hit Save As, and then you can just close it down. And then you can bring it right back up again, because it is the tileset template new adjusted 2. You just bring it back up again, you got all your same work. I can also close this, I don't need that anymore. Now, I find it in my documents, eastwallcovered.png, and I bring it into Unity. So grab this, drag drop, east wall covered. Change it 256. Adjust the size and apply. Drag it into my sprite editor. You guys can't actually see my sprite editor. This is my sprite editor. It's a bit of a mess. And then it creates this asset. The asset will show up right here. It's going to have that gray background instead. And you go into the sprite editor and you say bottom left, apply, and you can just close that down. So now can grab that. I'm going to drag that back there and just place it where it needs to go, which is right about here. Oh, except it's winding up behind that. We don't want that. So I can try to rearrange how it ends up, and that looks pretty much perfect. Except for I got the dimensions wrong again, and also that's not perfect. First of all, got the dimensions wrong again. I really wish that I could like get this right in one shot with people watching, but apparently I can't. So, and also it winds up in front of that, which it shouldn't do. So I can look at which one of these, it's the background that's got that on. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to erase that one. Erase that one. The eraser doesn't always work. There we go. I'm going to erase that one. I'm going to place that one on the midground. That was right around here, and I wanted the longer one. Place it on the midground. It still fits right there because this is in the foreground, this is in the midground. And then I can place on the background, or no, I can place also on the midground because the sort order is set for bottom left on the tile renderer, which I still don't totally get how the tile renderer works, but I feel like I am working on it. I can place this one right there. So now it at least fits that. Oh, actually it still doesn't. Let's try putting it in the background then. Oh yeah, and then it goes up behind that. Let's try rearranging the sort order here. Let's try doing top left. Nope, that's not working. So we've still got some issues with actually placing this stuff in Unity. Unity's being kind of a jerk. Can do top right. Man, that's not gonna work. Can do top right on the background, and that's not gonna work. I think it's because, well, that's in the background. But apparently it's not in the background enough. Because this is going to have to go on the background. It might be depending upon the order in which I paint them. So maybe I can actually erase this one somehow. There we go. And place it again. Nope. Ah, there we go. Well, now that fucks up that one. So I might actually, there's a chance that I can duplicate that, but I'm not going to troubleshoot this right now. Instead, I'm going to go one more time over how to get this corner adjusted for the proper length, because I made it the wrong length. So again, go into your Photoshop document. You just find it, east wall covered.psd. Find it. I'm gonna have to make it bigger because this is going to have to extend that way. So I'm gonna say image size. The height is 1280. Next step up is 1536. Oh, except I can't adjust that in image size because that's gonna drag out my my drawing. Instead, I need to adjust it from canvas size. Adjust from the bottom, go to pixels, make the height 1536, and say OK. And that gives me that. Again, delete the white space. Bring the grid back so I know what I'm doing. And then I'm just going to grab this and drag it out here. I'm actually going to do the same thing I did before because that actually worked really well. So I'm gonna duplicate these layers, merge them together, and then I'm going to grab this and drag it out here. Pro tips that I only just figured out. It's still my pro tips though. There we go. That should work. If it doesn't though, then what can I say? I'm still new at this. So save it as, again, you do new PNG, replace the old one. You save the Photoshop document so that it's the right size, and then you go back into Unity. You drag and drop your new PNG into Unity. Oh, I forgot to get rid of the grid. That's fine. That's just, you know, you can delete that because you haven't made it an asset yet. I think I can also delete the other stuff, but I haven't yet. I've got some cleaning up to do, if I'm being honest. So, I'm gonna open recent this .psd and take the grid away, and then you say save it as a PNG again. Delete the bad one. Go back into Unity. Find the new good one that's totally right and not wrong at all. Definitely totally right and not wrong at all. 256. You guys know the deal by now. 8192. Apply. Drag it into your tile palette. Drag it into your tile palette. Save it there. Looks pretty good. You grab your new palette, or you grab your new thing. You go to the sprite editor. You tell it to adjust to bottom left, and you hit apply. There you go. And now I'm gonna grab this. And oh, first I gotta erase the old one. So I'm gonna grab the eraser, just kind of smudge around right here. There we go. It's hard to find them with the bottom left because it's still a square document, so it's not gonna adjust. It's not gonna adhere right to the bottom left of the thing, or like here. It's gonna be way out here. See, bit of a pain, but it makes sure that they line up properly with the grid. Oh, and you can also see that when they line up with the grid, they should not line up with the grid on the tile palette. It's really unintuitive. I hate it, but that's how Unity works, I guess. So when it's like this, that means it's right, because it's going to be like this inside of the actual scene. And then I can just place this right here. And you can see that it does actually fit perfectly if I could get the sort order correct, which is coming. And there's a bit of a tangent right there, and I don't like it, but there's nothing I can do, so it's fine. So I'm going to do a little bit more research, first of all, into the sort order of things. Let me just go bottom left again. Yeah. A little bit more research into the sort order of things. But that's pretty much it. That's how we get them actually into Unity, actually fitting with the hitboxes that Ed can program, and that's how we actually put our work into this document. I'm going to upload both templates so that you can use them freely. I'm going to upload also, I'm going to make a 256 times tables, and I'm going to upload that for the first, I think, 15, 16 multiples of 256. So you don't have to keep Googling things and doing math in your browser window. Anyone has any questions, just field them to me on our Discord. I'm going to post this on the Drive, and I think I'm also going to post it on YouTube, because I haven't seen a whole lot of guide videos in general looking at this. So enjoy that, anonymous viewer. But for right now, thank you so much again to this whole team. You all have been awesome, and I know that you're gonna nail this.